10 Most Scandalous and Shocking Facts About Gary Hart. Gary Hart, once a rising star in U.S. politics, saw his career come crashing down due to scandal and controversy. Known for his intellect and policy-driven approach, his political journey was ultimately overshadowed by shocking personal and professional missteps. Here are 10 of the most scandalous and interesting facts about Gary Hart, providing insight into the man behind one of the most infamous political downfalls in American history. Fact number 1. A humble beginning, early life and personal struggles. Gary Hart, born Gary Warren Hartpence on November 28, 1936, in Ottawa, Kansas, came from humble beginnings. Raised in a working-class family, Hart experienced financial hardship throughout his early years. His father was a farm equipment salesman, and his mother was a homemaker. The family's financial struggles pushed Hart to focus on education as a way to improve his circumstances. He excelled academically, earning a degree in philosophy from Southern Nazarene University in 1958. Hart later attended Yale Divinity School, before switching to Yale Law School, where he earned a law degree in 1964. In 1958, he married Oletha Lee Ludwig, with whom he had 2 children, Andrea and John. Hart later dropped the Pence from his surname when he entered politics, believing a shorter name would be easier for voters to remember. His impressive academic rise contrasted with the personal challenges he would later face, as his private life would become a national scandal. Number 2. The 1984 presidential bid, almost a front-runner. Hart's 1984 presidential campaign was an attempt to position himself as the fresh face of the Democratic Party. Running against the more established and traditional Walter Mondale, Hart's campaign slogan "New Ideas" resonated with voters looking for change. He emphasized technology, innovation, and a future-focused agenda, which helped him win primaries in states like New Hampshire and California. Despite his initial success, Hart's ambiguous stance on some issues, particularly his refusal to provide specific policy details, hurt his campaign. During a debate with Mondale famously mocked Hart by quoting a Wendy's commercial, asking, "Where's the beef?" in response to Hart's vague answers. Mondale ultimately secured the nomination, leaving Hart's bid a close but disappointing loss. Still, the 1984 race laid the foundation for Hart's 1988 run, where his reputation as a dynamic and forward-thinking candidate put him at the forefront. Number 3. The infamous 1988 presidential campaign. Gary Hart entered the 1988 presidential race as the Democratic front-runner, bolstered by his near success in 1984. Polls showed him leading potential opponents, including Republican George H.W. Bush. However, rumors of Hart's extramarital affairs began circulating, and when pressed by reporters, Hart infamously told them, "Follow me around. I don't care. They'll be bored." This challenge backfired dramatically. Journalists took Hart at his word, trailing him and soon uncovering his relationship with a woman named Donna Rice. The scandal unfolded rapidly, and the once promising campaign crumbled. Hart suspended his presidential bid in May 1987, just weeks after it began. His fall from grace became one of the most notorious political collapses in modern American history. Number 4. The Donna Rice Affair, a campaign derailed by scandal. In 1987, Gary Hart was the leading contender for the Democratic nomination for President of the United States. His campaign was abruptly derailed by a scandal involving a young woman named Donna Rice. Rumors of Hart's extramarital affairs had been circulating, and when reporters from the Miami Herald received an anonymous tip about his liaison with Rice, they conducted a stakeout of his Washington, D.C., townhouse. A photograph soon emerged showing Hart with Rice aboard a yacht aptly named Monkey Business, with Rice sitting on his lap. Despite Hart's insistence that he had nothing to hide, the scandal exploded in the media. On May 8, 1987, just days after the story broke, Hart suspended his campaign. The incident is often cited as a turning point in political journalism, where personal indiscretions became front-page news, and it marked the end of Hart's once promising political career. Number 5. The impact on Hart's family. Hart's wife, Oletha Lee Ludwig, initially stood by him in the wake of the Donna Rice scandal, publicly supporting him despite the intense scrutiny. The couple, married since 1958, had 2 children, Andrea and John, and had maintained a relatively low-profile personal life before the scandal. The fallout from the monkey business incident, however, took a toll on the family. The press hounded Hart's family, adding immense pressure on their relationships. While Hart and Ludwig never divorced, they lived apart for many years, their marriage strained by the scandal. The couple eventually reconciled and resumed living together, but the personal cost of Hart's political collapse was felt deeply by his family, particularly his children. Number 6. The Secret Yachtsman, Hart's love for the sea. Few knew about Gary Hart's passion for sailing, which made the infamous monkey business photo all the more ironic. Sailing had long been Hart's escape from the stresses of political life, and he had spent many years developing a deep love for the sea. He often took private sailing trips to relax, but the yacht that would become synonymous with his scandal cast a dark shadow over this hobby. Even after his political career ended, Hart continued sailing, maintaining his lifelong connection to the sea. The public, however, would forever associate his love for the ocean with the scandal that cost him the presidency. Number 7. Reemergence in public life, from scandal to diplomacy. Despite the scandal, Hart eventually re-emerged as a respected voice in foreign policy and national security. In the late 1990s and early 2000s, he served on the U.S. Commission on National Security, where he co-chaired a report that warned of the possibility of a terrorist attack on the U.S. just months before September 11th. His insights into national security and foreign affairs earned him a measure of respectability that had eluded him since the Donna Rice scandal. While he never returned to electoral politics, Hart's post-scandal career showed that his expertise was still valued, even if his political ambitions had been thwarted. Number 8. Hart's connection to Hollywood, a failed film career. After his political downfall, Hart explored the possibility of a career in Hollywood. In the early 1990s, he tried to break into film production and screenwriting, leveraging his notoriety to gain meetings with industry executives. Hart reportedly wrote several scripts, although none were ever produced. His brief foray into entertainment ultimately amounted to little, as the stigma of the monkey business scandal followed him even in this new industry. While Hart's attempt to reinvent himself as a Hollywood figure didn't pan out, his efforts reflect the extent to which he sought new paths after his political career ended. Number 9. The infamous monkey business yacht, a symbol of scandal. The yacht monkey business became a lasting symbol of scandal and political ruin in the late 1980s. The vessel's odd name provided ample fodder for comedians and satirists, who mocked Hart relentlessly. The monkey business was a charter yacht, and Hart's ill-fated trip aboard it with Donna Rice became one of the most talked-about political scandals of the decade. Even long after the scandal faded from the headlines, the yacht itself remained infamous, its name forever tied to political humor and commentary on extramarital affairs in Washington. Number 10. The Legacy of Gary Hart, a cautionary tale. Gary Hart's downfall has become a classic cautionary tale in American politics, often cited as the turning point when the private lives of candidates became fair game for the media. Hart's career serves as a warning about the intersection of personal integrity and public scrutiny. Many political analysts believe that the Hart scandal marked the beginning of the modern media's relentless focus on personal lives, with future candidates becoming more cautious about their private conduct. Despite the scandals, Hart's early political success and later contributions to national security have preserved a complex legacy, one marked by both brilliance and scandal.